So Nhlamulo Baloyi, popularly known as Nota, has been trending for the past week and some change. Initially, for good things, he sat with me. We spoke about the music industry and what's wrong with it. He went and he sat with DJ Sbu on the Hustlers Corner, speak about the music industry, politics, and so many other things. What would then happen is that I believe sometime last week, and look, please don't knock me for the details. I'm not here to discuss the details. Sometime last week, I'm not sure if he was arrested or he was wanted by the police, but there was a case that was opened against Nota, Nhlamulo Baloyi, of rape, sexual assault, sexual crime, sexual violation. Now, from that point on, there have been a lot of talks on social media, on Twitter in particular, and Nota himself has released WhatsApp chats between himself and Itumeleng. Itumeleng, it seems, is one of the ladies, because there was a time when Nota was being accused of having being screwed over when it comes to royalties, royalty revenue, and a split. Nota had gone on Twitter to say that I was not involved in this thing, don't include me, etc., etc. This is the lady apparently who was linked to some of those complaints along with some other stakeholders. This lady, Itumeleng Bokaba, I believe is her name, went and opened this case. Nota shared the WhatsApp text between them, acknowledged that they had sexual intercourse of some sort, that they had some type of relationship, that she'd been to his house, etc. And as of yesterday, on the Own Your Narrative podcast hosted by Promise M, Nota went to tell his story. Haven't really spoken to Nota. We had a quick chat this morning. He sent me all the WhatsApp texts between himself and Itumeleng and some other data as well. I haven't gone through the data. It's not necessarily for me to go through the data, but I believe Nota is doing it to tell his side of the story and probably sharing this not just with me, but with many other people that have platforms to speak about what's happened. I'm making this video to address Nota's behavior, to address Itumeleng's behavior, and to speak about sexual violations and sexual crimes. I have made videos in the past when Lady Zamar opened a case against Us Java, accusing him of rape. I made a video speaking about that. When DJ Fresh and Euphonic were accused of raping girls, I think on a ship, if I'm not mistaken, I made a video about that. When Jub was accused of raping for over a year, I believe, Amanda DuPont, his ex-girlfriend, and Mac G and Podcast Until were implicated, I made a video about that. I have made videos before. Look, even recently, there was a case in the Eastern Cape of a boyfriend and a girlfriend who had sexual intercourse, and the girl said, I never wanted to have intercourse. This guy raped me. He was arrested. The case went appeal. At the time, acting judge was Tembega Ncukaitobi. He went and he said, I do not think there is enough evidence. I do not think that this was rape. And that caused a huge controversy. And last I checked, the lady and her family and her people had appealed that judgment. Just last week, I had a conversation about rape, sexual violations, sexual crimes with a friend that's close to me. There was a clip that I'd seen from, I think it's a series. I'm not sure which platform it's on. It could be Showmax, it could be Netflix, I'm not sure. It is called Blood Legacy. And in there's a scene where high school kids are at a party with adults. The kids drink alcohol, which they're not meant to be drinking. And this girl is doing a live, almost like an Instagram live to her friends. And when she gets into the bedroom, she finds, I don't know if it's her cousin, her male cousin, on top of another girl they go to school with. The girl is unconscious and the cousin is trying to put his dick inside her. That video goes viral. A case gets opened against this boy for rape or attempted rape, whatever. And there's this whole hoo-ha around the families, what is just, what is not, etc. Rape is a very complex crime and allegation. A lot of people do not understand this, and I think it is partly the reason why we only have a 2% conviction rate in South Africa. Of the 100 cases that get brought forward, only 2 of those cases will end up with a guy being arrested, just found guilty. And people will say, there's no justice in this country. The legal system is broken. I agree. There's no justice in this country. I agree. The legal system is broken. But people need to understand that a rape case is complicated. It is not as easy as people think. Let me start with Nota. I think Nota needs to understand the gravity of the allegations brought against him. I think he does, but I don't think he fully understands. The idea of going on podcasts and speaking and laughing, and when you've been accused of something so serious, even if you think it's ridiculous, even if you're like, that's crazy, you need to treat it with a certain level of seriousness because it is serious. It is very serious. We had OK Malum Kulket, who was arrested, I think, overseas. Of course, we've had the infamous R. Kelly, who slept with underage girls. One of the podcast conversations that's going to be coming out in the future is myself sitting with Rutendo Matinyarare, who at some point was also accused of some level of pedophilia, etc. These sexual violations and sexual crimes are serious. So if someone accuses me, yes, if you feel it is best to tell your story because no one is listening to you, mainstream media is not giving you a platform, you can go on a podcast. But treat it with some level of seriousness because it is a huge, huge deal. Not only your case, understand when you're a public figure like Nota, when you're going on a platform, it's no longer about you. It is about yourself, of course, the victim. It is about the victim's family or the so-called victim's family. It's about your family. It's about both your fans and people that support you. And then it is for all the rape victims out there or potential rape victims out there. And especially because a lot of young guys look up to Nota, to speak to young guys out there, be sensitive about this thing. Especially because my understanding is that the case is ongoing. Maybe you can address it later. You had Tall Asmo, Umongezi, who kind of disappeared. He was going through his rape trial. He was acquitted. They didn't find enough evidence. I've made videos around that as well. He went to Podcast and Chill. He bled on the platform. You could see he was hurt and broken, etc. He was speaking about his ordeal, etc., etc. It's very dangerous now while you're doing this because if the case is ongoing, some of these podcast interviews and episodes might be used as evidence. And if ever you're laughing, if ever you think something's a joke, if ever you are almost poking at the applicant, the potential victim, they may use that as a character sketch for you. That this guy thinks that this is a joke. He's not taking it seriously. He's going on platforms, speaking about this thing, bashing this girl, even to a point where this sharing of WhatsApp texts, as much as it should be admissible as evidence for the trial, the idea of speaking about it in an ongoing case might make this evidence almost be seen as tampered, being biased, etc., and it may be inadmissible. To be like, but this guy went and took private texts, Poppy Act, private texts, which should have been used as evidence in a court of law, in a confidential, private contained space, is spreading it with the whole world, which is a violation of someone's privacy and private space. Because unfortunately on Twitter, unfortunately on Instagram, we can't prosecute. All we can do is offer public opinion. But if you're telling us certain information, if you're sharing videos, clips, voice notes, I cannot say, and I do not know if the legal system may count that against you. To be like, but you violated this woman's privacy. It's like, but it can't be private because she's opened a case against me. She opened a case in private. She didn't go on a video and say, hey, this is what's going on. She did it privately, confidentially, and we were meant to take this case from the beginning to its end. And then thereafter, we'll see what is allowed to be public domain, etc. It's very sensitive. And the character sketch of how you're painting this lady, speaking about the fact that she has kids with another man that she never married, speaking about how she was cheating on her boyfriend with you, those, although you are painting a character sketch of the lady, may end up making you look a certain way. I really think the focus on Nota should be on the specific act and the context, of course. Whether a lady is someone you work with in music, whether a lady is someone who's dating, whether a lady is a single mom, whatever the case may be, the fact is you allowed as Umchita to be intimate with this lady, and we need to understand what happened. Did this lady say no? Did she push you off? Did you violate her? Did you penetrate her without consent? Essentially, when you're dealing with rape, to be fully honest, that is the beginning and the end of it. Did you sleep with this person? Did you penetrate this person without their consent? And if we can find that that's the case, you have then raped that person. That person can be a prostitute. That person can be a hoe. That person could have lied somewhere in the past. That person could be very, very shady. But in this specific case, did this person say no? Did this person withdraw consent? And then you continued. And can she prove that? And then from there, we'll say whether this is a rape case or it's not. I hope Nota I understand he's telling his side of the story. He's speaking where he knows best, on podcast platforms, on Instagram Live, by tweeting. He's sharing because he's like, guys, see what's going on. I'm being attacked. Many similar people have done the same, different celebrities being like, but I was here on this day, but how could it be? But look at this chick. She's lied before in the past. It happens. So I don't fault him for doing what he normally does. When AKA was murdered, he took on the same platforms, speaking out about the murder of AKA, accusing people, etc. But I'm just saying he needs to understand the sensitivity, because this is him. This is his case. And my understanding is that it's ongoing. So he needs to be very calculated and strategic about how he manages this, because there are many people watching. Young, impressionable boys, some women out there, and of course, a lot of his haters. They're looking for any little mistake that he makes, any little trip to be like, I got him. There. So I think this is a lesson for all of us. If you've been accused of domestic violence, of beating a woman, if you've been accused of some sexual crime, please treat it with the seriousness that it deserves. Please treat it with the seriousness that it deserves, because there are so many people out there that are suffering with these things or in these type of cases. Then I want to speak about this lady that I don't know from above, so Itumeleng Bokaba. We have had many good men be falsely accused of sexual crimes or even of domestic violence in a one-sided affair. We have got a lot of ladies that have been violated in various ways that have not received justice because the perpetrator is someone famous, because the perpetrator has a lot of fans, because the perpetrator is powerful, has a lot of money, etc. We had Lebogang, if I'm not mistaken, the wife or potentially ex-wife of Likao Sehoana, speaking about the times when she and Likao of Drip had issues, that he'd say things like, I know powerful people, these people are on my payroll. So there are many women that are victims that either can't speak out, that are scared of speaking out, that get cyberbullied. You look at the lady Zama in her case, Utus Java, where whether true or not that he violated her, the bottom line is Java fans attacked and cyberbullied her, and they still do it to this day. She's lucky that she's been strong and it hasn't caused her to hurt herself. But there was a tweet where she was almost alluding to, I don't know now what must happen because I'm being attacked. For saying, but guys, I was violated. Itumeleng needs to understand this, and not just her, but many young women out there need to understand the seriousness of rape allegations. There are rape allegations where a guy, a man, forces himself onto you, has sex with you without your consent. Then there's something called regret sex. Woman goes out, drinks, parties, meets this guy, they go to his place, they're kissing, they're making out. She's not really sure if she wants to. They have sex, she wakes up in the morning, she's like, I actually don't want to sleep with this guy. I think he raped me. That's not rape. That is regret sex, and regret sex is not a violation. It is you making bad decisions that have consequences that you need to take accountability for. This could have been one of those cases based on the information Nota has given us, based on some of the texts we've seen, which sadly we still haven't been proven whether they are legit or not. Maybe that'll be for the courts to decide. Were some of these texts doctored, were they edited, etc. But from what we are seeing, we can only comment on what we are seeing. And Usisi Itumeleng can also has her point. She can go and get on platforms and tell her story as well. We saw this with Tulebo Keswa speaking about the breakdown of a marriage with Letoya. We saw Letoya Makene doing the same thing as well. Rape is serious. You don't have regret sex. You don't have a wild drunken night. You don't have aggressive sex and your vagina sore in the morning like, I think this guy raped me. You don't, like Lady Zamar, go and tell your friend that, look, this is what happened. And then it takes your friend to tell you, friend, I think you were raped. Really? I think you're right. It cannot be like that, because this is such a serious allegation. If you go through the whole process of trial and a judgment and this guy goes to prison, you will fundamentally change their lives forever. They will now be a convicted criminal. They may never get work somewhere. They will always have this mark against them. There are going to be people that will always be hate on them, discriminate against them in various ways. So understand this decision that you are making to go and open a case, and you should be allowed to. Amanda Dupont speaks about how she went to the police. She wanted to open a case. The police officer, I think it was a female, she said, the police officer said, Siswam, we get a lot of these cases. I'm asking you to please go home. I think it was the rape. I could be mistaken. I don't think it was domestic violence. We'll open the case, but I need you to go home, think about it, and then come back. Amanda says she never went back. She's like, the police, I never went back. It's like, no, Siswam, you have to go back. There's a reason why the police say that. It's like, we know how many people drop charges because you are angry, because you are actually blackmailing the guy, because you're trying to punish him. And then you pull back the charges, and then you've wasted all our time and resources. What is important for young girls to know is, if you feel you've been violated, I know, or I understand it is traumatic. I understand you don't really know what's going on. Your head is spinning. There's a lot. But if you can preempt this, as soon as the act has happened, leave that space, wherever that space may be. Leave it immediately if you can. If you can, leave it. If you can't leave it, try and contact someone to please come and fetch you, whatever the case may be. Try and get out of that space. Do not rush home. Don't rush home and shower. You want to remove the filth. You want to scrub your pussy because you want to remove the... Do not do that. That may be your knee-jerk reaction to be like, I just want to cleanse myself of the filthy act that just happened. Do not do that. You go straight to the police to go open a case. You are allowed to open a case even if the police make you feel some type of way. You're like, I will open this case. And if I want to withdraw it, I'm well within my rights to withdraw it. You go and you open a case. They may then ask you certain questions. So you go to the police station, you ask them for advice. I'd like to think good police officers will tell you, okay, we'll open this case for you, but we're going to need certain things from your side. We're going to need you to go to a doctor, to a hospital, to go and do a rape kit. You go, you do the rape kit. If there's any bruising, you check if there's bruising, if he was strangling you, if he was slapping you, if he was punching you, and you have that all noted down so that it becomes part of your case. You can say, I just want to get the rape kit. I want to maybe test for STIs. At some point, maybe you'll also want to test for pregnancy if it was unprotected. And then I want to note the bruises. You can then maybe make a voice note. You can make a video for yourself. This is what happened on this day at this time. You give the person's name. This is how we met, or this is what happened. This is how I felt. And you leave that. And even at the police station, you say, look, I just want to write an affidavit. I want it stamped. I'm not ready to submit this, but I want to do all these things because I've been violated, and I want to make sure I have all these things on record before I go bath and shower and get counseling and speak to my family and other people. I want to make sure that I've collected as much evidence as possible of this guy. And if it's possible to even text the guy right after you've left to ask him, are you aware of what you did? Do you acknowledge what you did was wrong? You may find that a guy in that space may also still be figuring out, hey, maybe I did. I'm sorry. I was a bit too aggressive. I should have listened when you said no. You take all of those texts, maybe some of the voice notes, and you save those. You're not telling him I'm going to open it. You're just like, bro, I want you to acknowledge that you violated me. And you keep all those things, because later on, when you go to court, when you want to open a case, it's going to be easier to prosecute. If you're going to go home and shower and bath and wait till you heal and go for counseling and therapy, weeks later, months later, you now have the strength to go open the case. All of that evidence is gone. And when that guy doesn't get arrested because it becomes he said, she said, he's like, no, I never raped her. It's gone. And you may find that there wasn't even a swab for semen to actually be able to compare with him because you never went through all of that. So then you don't get justice. So then what happens? The legal system is broken. There's no justice in this country, but you didn't help. You didn't help with the collecting of that evidence. From what I'm hearing currently, Itumeleng, it is a he said, she said. I am not aware currently, maybe we'll find out later, if there's a rape kit. We do not know if Nota's semen was found inside her. The good thing for her is because of these podcasts and what Nota said out there, he has confessed to having intercourse with her. He confessed to having unprotected intercourse with her. So at least there's that part of there was intercourse. Was his semen found? We don't really need it anymore because he's confessed that there was intercourse and it was unprotected. We don't know what other evidence she may have. Voice notes, WhatsApp texts, etc., etc. So it becomes difficult, and the chances of her, if she feels she was violated, raped, the chances of her getting whatever justice she feels she's going to get later on and having Nota arrested, she may not get. And even if her case was legit, because she didn't do the effort of collecting that evidence, this is me now saying, if she had not, she may have, there may be a rape kit and so many other things out there that are still going to come to light. But if she had not done that, or if she has not done that, she's going to really, really struggle to get this guy arrested. Do not weaponize sex as a woman. Women, a large chunk of them, are emotional beings. They're emotional. It's in their nature. It's estrogen. Even guys that have, men that have high estrogen tend to be more emotional than other men with higher levels of testosterone. Do not weaponize sex. Your vagina is not a piece of property that someone takes from you. Mutual sex is a decision for both of your private parts to come together. A man does not take sex from a woman. I hear so many women speaking about this as if it's just a normal thing. It's not. Abanga, and I gave him sex. You don't give him sex, this one. You don't give a man sex. Because he could similarly turn around and be like, I gave her dick. It is a mutual act. In that mutual act, you do not lose anything. He is not losing anything. You guys decided to come together. So women need to stop weaponizing sex as something that men take from them. And if I gave the man sex, but I didn't enjoy how he took it, I'm then going to use it against him. We have had stories. We have seen tweets. We have seen posts on Facebook. I think it's called Ladies' House, of women saying, girl, go have sex with him. And then when you wake up in the morning, threaten to go to the police station to have him arrested. That's extortion. Extortion is when you weaponize something against someone because you're trying to get money or some type of benefit out of them. The WhatsApp text that Nota has shared, that people have seen, and the podcast is spoken about, alludes to Itumeleng Bokaba speaking about hating the job where she works, speaking about wanting to make it in the industry. Saying to Nota, I'm a sensitive woman, I'm very loving, etc., etc. If we are going to have sex, she said, I don't want to have sex with you. But if we are going to have sex, it's going to come from I'm going to give you one of two conditions. One of two conditions. Either if you want to have sex with me, you want to make me your girlfriend and I want to meet your family. That's the one condition. If you want to have sex with me, you make me your girlfriend, I want to meet your family. Which means she's then going to break up with her boyfriend, whose name they mentioned there as well. That's the one condition if you want to sleep with me. And there's nothing wrong with the woman setting those conditions. Whether those conditions are met or not, it's a condition a lady has set. If you want to be intimate with me, make me your woman, I want to meet your family. The second condition is, if you want to have casual sex, then commit that you're going to help me pursue my dream, that you're going to put me on. Now, that now becomes sex work. If a woman is saying, look, you can have my body, but as long as you bring me on your podcast, as long as you promote my, that is now sex work. That woman's not a victim. When a woman says on the table, you can have my pussy if you give me this, that is now sex work. It's true, this lady was offering sex work to Nota. Come sleep with me on condition that you do these things for me. Now, according to Nota's version, they go and they end up having intercourse. He says that this lady took off her own bra. He says on the podcast with Promise M that I believe she took off her own panties. And Nota claims that every time he's had sex with a woman, he allows the woman to guide his dick into her. He says, I gave her my dick, she put it inside herself. I didn't just push it. So she wanted this thing. Let me pause for a moment there. When we speak about consent with sex, going to a guy's house, contrary to what you may hear from certain people, is not consent for sexual intercourse. Asking a guy to go into a bedroom with you is not consent to have sexual intercourse. Taking off your bra as a woman is not consent to have sexual intercourse. You can consent explicitly and be like, I want you to have sex with me, get inside me. Explicit. You can send a text, I want you to have sex with me, I want you to do these things to me. Then there's something called implicit consent. Again, went to his house, asked him to come into the bedroom, took off her bra. It's looking very implicit. As he gets on her, if she pushes him off, if she says no, there is no consent. But she came to my house. But she asked me to come into the bedroom. But she took off the bra. No, look, we can assume implicit up until the point where you're about to get inside her and she pushed you off. The consent has been withdrawn. This thing of consent is so sensitive that you and a girl can decide to have sex. You can get with her. You can get inside her. You guys can have sex. You can have a round. You can ejaculate. You can then go again. If at any point she says, stop, get out. If at any point she says, stop, get out. If you continue, you are technically raping her. But we had one round. Yes, I consented to the one round. But I put it in second round. Yes, I consented to that. But then it got to a point where I said, no, I want you to stop. And then you carried on. At that moment, you were raping me. Would you get that guy acquitted? Would he go to jail? I'm not acquitted. Would that guy be convicted? Would he go to jail? I don't know. It would depend on the magistrate and maybe other factors around that case. But I need you to know, especially as a young boy or especially as a man, understand that from that point where a girl says no, you are now raping her. That's how sensitive consent is. Now, the idea that you're taking off a bra, you're taking off your panties, you're taking his dick, that is now implicit consent. You don't have to say, yes, have sex with me. You have to say no. You have to push him away. So these are the conditions set by Itumeleng, and the WhatsApp messages don't help. Some of the other WhatsApp messages of them flirting, speaking about certain things don't help. Because now there is no explicit showing that there was a violation, except for the messages after, which sound like regret sex. But you said you would meet this. Now, could Itumeleng argue that, look, I told this guy that I'll have sex with him if he'll help me. He hasn't helped me. So therefore, he breached a contract. Now, in a situation like that, it's like, oh, Donna, but you got a service, sex work. You're meant to deliver. So this lady's right to sue you for damages. You must put her on, or you must help her career, or you must pay her. Because you guys had an agreement, Must. The other one about you must make her your girlfriend or your parents, that one is very subjective, and there's no court of law that can force you to be in a relationship with someone you don't know. Now, on this one, where the girl comes afterwards and she's regretful of what happened, and it becomes very tricky. I spoke about consent. Women, girls. I remember many years ago being on a rooftop of a mall, and there were people giving a workshop on what to do when you're getting hijacked. They spoke about when the hijacker comes to your window, comply, especially if they have a weapon, comply. Roll down the window so that they don't smash the window, because if they're smashing the window, that may be aggravating them. And you don't know if this person is high, drunk, whatever. So if they ask you to open the window and you can see you being hijacked, put your hands up, let them be visible. Comply, you are about to be hijacked. Show your hands at all times, even when you're removing your seatbelt, because one criminal, if you turn your whole body, if you use your other hand, might think you're taking a weapon and might end up shooting you. So to protect yourself, visible, comply, behave, I'm sorry, get out, move, let them take the car and leave. There is no car on planet Earth that is worth your life. One of the things that the person that was running the workshop said is, it saddens me that I'm training people on how to handle a hijack when we shouldn't even be having such fucking bullshit workshops in the first place. It saddens me that I'm about to say this to women, because unfortunately we have rapists, we have sexual deviants and criminals out there. If you're a woman, wherever you may be, and you find yourself, whether by your choice or you are forcefully taken to a place where a man is about to sexually violate you, I urge you to please do these things. Again, it's so that we can try help you get justice. Say no. Say no. So many women, when you hear their stories of how they were raped, speak about when it was happening, they froze. They froze. They froze. This guy got on top of them. They took off their clothes. The guy did what he did. He ejaculated. And look, this sex will last a few seconds, maybe a minute or two, and they're done. But I froze. Now, I understand the psychology. But again, it's like a hijacking. You'll freeze. And I'm asking you, in that moment, be like, I think I'm being sexually violated. Say no. And say it loudly. Now, I'm not asking you to only say no. Because you have couples, no. She said no, but she said no before. Because girls will do that. No, I'm not really in the mood. Then you guys have sex, have a good time. It happens again. The fifth time, she then decides, you raped me. Like, but you've said no before. Many guys will go through the same. Men will be woken up in the morning. The chick is horny. Baby, I'm tired. Come on. You know, I'm so horny. I don't. That guy is saying no, Siswami. You forcing him to have sex is a violation. That is actually technically rape. Say no. But don't only say no. Tell this person, you are about to rape me. Use that word. But you're about to rape. Are you trying to rape me? Say it loudly. Let the guy hear you. You are raping me. So that hopefully the guy will be like, hey, because guys get horny and I think their brain cells switch off. The guy will be like, what do you mean I'm raping? I'm telling you you're raping me. I'm not just saying no. I'm telling you you're raping me. With the hope that he snaps out of it and he stops. If he doesn't snap out of it and he carries on, when you go to court, you will be like, I said no, stop. No, stop. You are raping me. You're about to rape me. I said those words loudly more than once. I told him while he was doing it, you are raping me. I wasn't quiet. I wasn't just crying. I told him. And if you have the strength, I know it may aggravate the perpetrator. Slap him, punch him, scratch him, kick him. You need to show an effort of fighting this person off. Psychologically, you're not in a good space. You can't believe this is happening. But try to be conscious, because if you're going to want justice afterwards, unfortunately, the legal system doesn't work with, I froze, yes, I was wet, he came, and then it's like, yo, Siswam, he's saying he didn't rape you. Did you say no? I was shocked. I was in shock. Okay, you didn't say no. Did you say stop? No. Did you push him? I felt helpless. Did you slap him, punch him? As I said, I was in shock. It's like, yo, yeah, this is tough. And for young boys out there, for men out there, for grown men out there, her being wet is not consent to sex. A woman could be wet. She could finger herself in front of you. She can squirt. That is not consent. The body it's biology. You could be sleeping as a guy and a woman fondles your private parts as and your dick gets hard. She's like, oh, but he wanted it. His dick was hard. No, I didn't want it. I was tired. But your dick, my dick is not me, bro. My vagina is not me. It could happen that we were kissing. I obviously got wet, or just biologically, your dick was there and the body reacted. So I could have been wet, but I didn't want to have sex. How do you know that I didn't want to have sex with you? I told you no. I told you stop. I told you you're raping me. And then I tried to push you off. I tried to scratch you. I tried to put my nails in you. I tried to punch you. I tried to kick and push you off. So that when I go and I open a case, when I'm writing this affidavit, as painful as it is through my tears and my trauma, I'm saying I pushed this guy off. I told him you're raping me over and over and over again. He can never at any moment claim that he didn't know. We have not heard that from this lady, where she was saying no. Again, we don't have all the evidence. She may have rightly done this, and it may come through later. But if she hasn't done this, she didn't say no. She didn't say stop. She didn't say you're raping me. She didn't try and push him off. Other women out there who feel they are or they've been victims of sexual crimes, you need to introspect. I know it's dark. I know it's not great. But you need to introspect and be like, did I actually say no? Did I push him off? Fuck, if I ever took this case to trial, I would have lost. And I would have looked like I'm falsely accusing someone. So it's very important to please get your evidence sorted. It's important to speak out and be vocal and scream. If you're in a house setting, Amanda DuPont said Jub would violate her while they were in another room, while her family was in another room. I believe from Nota's version of events, they went to the bedroom because I think his nephew was there. If there are other people in the space, scream. The guy might be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're violating me. I want people to come in here. I want, when we look for witnesses, to be like, yeah, we heard her screaming. We heard her saying, stop, you're raping. We heard her. But if it's quiet, or maybe we hear moaning, the last thing we're thinking is you're getting violated. So we need young girls, older women to be vigilant in how they try to manage these situations, so that either the guy stops, because that's first prize, that while you're speaking to him, while you're kicking him off, he snaps out of it and he stops. And if he doesn't stop, so that at least when you go open a case, you can get some level of justice. That is very important. Guy's got a scratch on his neck. Where did you get the scratch? No, the sex was rough. It wasn't rough. I was scratching him to get him off me. What happened here, sir? Why do you have a cut? She was punching me. I think this. No, I was punching him to tell him to get off me. And I told him over and over again. Yes, he might deny it, but at least from my side as a woman, I can say I took all the measures I could take to try and get this man to stop what he was doing. And it's not a matter that we're having fat chats afterwards. But when you look like you are raping me. Me, I don't remember saying. We're having chats and laughs. I'm like, come on. But nah. There's a question I asked on Facebook earlier today, and it's a relevant question because I'd like an answer to it. And I think the answer to it will educate so many of us. Is it enough for a woman to say, I sent him a message saying I don't want to have sex with him? Or does she have to verbally, explicitly say it when they are physically together? But look, I sent him a message before he came over to be like, okay, we're not going to have sex, ne? I told you we're not going to have sex. So many women do that. Send messages, you can pull through, but please no, we're not going to fuck. Please no, we're not going to cool. When you get there and you guys are kissing and it's hot and heavy and you're like, hey, you said you don't want to have sex. No, I want you, please. But your message said, yeah, obviously, but now you're here. Is it enough for a woman to try and use the evidence of, but you see the text here? It explicitly says, I didn't want to have sex with you. So obviously it's rape. You're like, No. I think we need something more. But if legal fundis can tell us, yeah, that can actually work as evidence. To be like, she actually did say. That is going to be very important for men out there to know in future. That before you go to a woman's place, send a text. Are we going to have sex? If she says no, and you're planning to have sex with her, don't go. For women, if the guy, 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, hey, what's up? Do you want to chill? No, I just want to chat. Send him a message. We will not have sex. Or if, whatever the case may be, this thing is blurry, tell him to not come over. Tell him to not come over. Be like, no, you probably want to have sex with me. And I know what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you I don't want to have sex. You're going to come here. You're going to want to have sex. You might force yourself on me. And then it's going to be he said, she said. And the fact that I sent you a message is not going to hold up in court. So no. I've said before to young men that before you get that, what are you up to, 1 o'clock in the morning call, and you think of jumping in a car and an Uber to go and smash, go to the bathroom and ejaculate. Go release that demon, that fucking high testosterone where you're boiling, like, oh, I've been wanting to smash this chick. Go release. If you have to release a few times, masturbate, watch some porn, which I'm not a fan of, please go do it. Just remove that edge so that you can have clarity, so you can think, what am I actually doing? Where does this girl stay? She stays 2 hours away. I'm about to drive at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's raining. Hey, if I come through, what are we going to do? Well, you'll see when you get here. No, I won't see when I get there. I want to know, why are you calling me over? How is it not obvious? It's not obvious. It's not obvious. Tell me what you want. Well, I'm horny. You want to have sex? Why would you say it like that? You want to turn me off? No, I want you to tell me, do you want to have sex? I don't want to come there. You'll see when you get here. It's a surprise. Is it not obvious? Stop playing those fucking games, ladies. Those games lead to violations, and then you want people to feel sorry for you. Why were you going home with the guy at 2 o'clock in the morning? tipsy. And this is what questions people ask, which we're not allowed to ask, by the way. And we shouldn't be asking, because rape is rape, black and white. But where were you going? What were you thinking? But he said we were just gonna chill. Are you 5 years old? You guys met in a club. You guys were dancing and grinding. He was buying you drinks. And then you saw his nice car and you decided to go home with him at 2 o'clock in the morning. And you thought you guys were gonna chill and talk about politics and the economy. You also mustn't take us for granted. Girls need to be vigilant, and girls and their friends that are with them must be vigilant. Friend, where are you going? No, I'm just going to, this guy wants to have sex with you. No, he told me he's married. Friend, this guy wants to have sex with you. If you're not going to go have sex with him, do not leave here. Because if you leave here, friend, and then tomorrow morning you're like, friend, please come with me to the police station, I'm going to be the first person to tell you to fuck off. Because I'm going to be like, I want you to not go home with this guy. You don't know him from a bar of soap. And fuck, girls are brave. Girls go home with random niggas they don't know. These days you realize that niggas are brave. You're taking a girl who may have an agenda, who may drug you. There's stories of girls who go home with guys, drug them. The guy wakes up in the morning, laptop, cell phone, cash, gone. So it's not only evil men, there are evil women out there. So you need to remain vigilant. You need to remain vigilant. We're going to need to have robust conversations around sexual violations. We're going to need to have conversations around the idea that a victim gets to choose whether they were violated or not. On the one day, it was okay. Well, on that day, I wanted him. On this day, it wasn't okay because I didn't want him. So you get to choose whether you were violated or not. It's he said, she said. The dangers of opening a case like that, because you may destroy a guy's career and reputation, but it may backfire, like a lady Zamar, where all of a sudden you're actually being cyberbullied for raising a case that was not straightforward, that was not black and white. Now it's a mess. And we need to be careful. You know, I'm speaking as someone who's in this space. Be careful of, in your high emotions, wanting to rush to a podcast and tell your story. It may end up doing more damage than good. You're like, I want to tell my story. Like, whoa. As a small aside, Ulebo Keswa went to Seto Tulungelo KM on Engineer Your Life to tell her story about Latoya. It's not a great story. There's a lot of accusations there, which, if not true, Latoya could... Violating and beating her up. There are so many allegations there. If not true, Latoya could sue Lebo. It may have been in July, Ulebo Keswa reached out to me. Pen, I want to come and speak on your podcast about the breakdown of my marriage with Latoya. I asked her what's wrong. She sent me a voice note. I listened and I was like, you don't sound okay. I think you guys must go for therapy and I hope you'll be okay. She was like, sure, we'll do that. No worries. A few months later, I'd see that she'd recorded a podcast episode. Nothing wrong. Go tell your story, go tell your side, vindicate yourself and be like, I'm being smeared. Very fair. But I'm just saying, be careful in high emotions. Saying things that end up being taken as sound bites, being used as evidence, and being used to sink you or to attack you. Where if I had just taken a moment, almost like the masturbation story, if you just taken a moment to be like, what are the consequences of this thing? Even for girls themselves. Before you go home with a guy, before you send that 3 o'clock in the morning, what are you up to text? Masturbate. Finger yourself, watch some porn, come. Maybe that's all you needed. Not some guy to come over and then next thing, who knows? Maybe you wanted to have sex with him, but this guy ends up violating you worse. Because you guys fight, or the sex is sore and you ask him to stop and he doesn't stop. And then next thing you're trying to hit him and then he thinks it's a thing and then he starts hitting you back. Now all of a sudden you're beaten up and bruised, but you were the person that sent the first message to be like, hey, pull over, come through. Let's Netflix and chill. There are different categories of rape and we must be careful to also not bunch all rape cases the same. The Nota and Itumeleng case is very different from a lady who was taken in the streets, dragged to a bush and violated. It's very different from a married couple where the wife doesn't want to have sex and the husband forces himself on her. It is very different from a case where a girl is like, I'm a virgin, you know, I'm not ready. And they have sex and then afterwards she's like, he broke my virginity, he raped me. There's a story back in my hometown of a couple in high school that were found having sex on. Sorry. The boy broke down after the accusation. He took his life. All the kids on the school grounds were like, but we know that these guys date, so we don't understand this rape thing. The girl came out later and she said, no, I was scared. I panicked. That's why I said he was raping me. Boy's dead now. There are consequences to false accusations, number one. There are consequences, sadly, to accusations which may not be false, but where it's going to be difficult to prove. Because if he doesn't end up getting convicted, most other people are going to think that you are lying. So now you look like that lady. And now every other guy you interact with is like, hey, this is what, no, me, I don't want to get close to you because, hey, I remember you accused that guy and he never went to jail. So I think you're shady. This lady now, Itumeleng, if ever Nota beats this case, her reputation, even if she was violated, anyone who comes close to her, works with her, is now going to be hesitant to be like, if she's like, oh no, we can have a meeting at your place, like I will be like, it's a no from me. I don't want you anywhere close to me in private because I don't know what's going to happen. Next thing, I'm being accused of, hey, Baba, it's a no from me. And as I've said before in many of my videos on this topic, is porn is very bad for the mind, and porn is one of the things that adds to this rape culture. This thing of tying each other up, BDSM, 50 Shades of Grey, go deeper, strangle me, daddy, choke me, daddy. These things add to this rape culture. Men need to call each other out. I've been in groups where the way men speak about women, I'm like, it's a no from me. Come on, dog, we're all gents. I'm like, we are all gents. And I fully understand what you guys are doing and saying, but I'm telling you that it's wrong. Because women and girls are actually scared of us. We are creatures of sorts. So be gentle. If you're on top of a girl, you're kissing, you're about to, she winces, she's, be like, are you sure? Yeah, really? You know what? Let's take a breather. Let's go have a coffee. After the coffee, the chick would be like, hey, yeah, I'm actually not ready. And you're like, cool. And you're like, okay, let me just go to the pub and go release this demon. Because the last thing I want is to have sex with you. You have regret sex. You accuse me of rape. Now I regret my sizzling 2 minutes of pleasure, but now I'm going to jail. So we need to be very, very careful and very sensitive about this topic. It is one of the most traumatic crimes that could ever happen to someone. And when you hear stories of girls being like, yeah, my boyfriend raped me, yeah, my husband raped me, yeah, look, I told him at some point that I didn't want, yes, we were naked, we were kissing, of course I was wet. You're like, Siswam, you see, this thing is so messy right now. This is not a stranger, someone close to you, this is someone you wanted, this is someone you kissed, this is someone you flirted with, this is someone you sent nudes to. And I do think for many of us, we need to start looking to other solutions because the courts are heavy, boy. And you may ask even people like Itumeleng, look, I don't want him to get arrested. I just want him to say sorry because I told him I'm not ready, I don't have sex. Or I want him to make him my girlfriend. Or I want him to help me with my career as he said he would. And you're like, that's why you went to open a case. Yeah. And you're like, oh, Siswami, that was not the right move. You should have called someone close to Nota, someone in your circle, and be like, can you please organize a mediation? I want to face this guy and tell him something. Bro, I think you sexually violated me and I want to open a case. What's wrong? How can we remedy this? A lot of these cases, especially with high school kids, especially people that were drunk, all the way before it gets to court, you're like, we were both drunk, we didn't know. When a man and a woman both get drunk and go have sex and the girl wakes up in the morning and like, oh my gosh, I had sex, I was raped. Both of you were drunk. You could have raped him. There are many men who are victims of rape technically, but they don't know. A girl that you went home with wakes you up with a blowjob. You were sleeping. That is oral sex. You did not consent. That is a violation. That is rape. But guys won't call it that because we don't think of it like that. Do the same thing to a woman. Drunk, go home, wake up in the morning, she wakes up with you going down on her. That is a violation. That is rape. So we need to move carefully. This hypersexualized world that we live in, this porn world that we live in, is really, really dangerous, and we need to move better. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Okay. Have a great day.